This is ESPN on ABC.
It is a beautiful day in the Tampa Bay area where the Rays need to win today or they could be boating as early as tomorrow. And they hope for more fan support today inside Tropicana Field. Yesterday, the smallest crowd for a postseason Major League Baseball game since 1919. Fewer than 20,000 watched Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers win game one of this series 4-0 over the Rays, who have now lost 6 straight postseason games. It's win or go home for Kevin Cash and Tampa Bay today.
The time for improving is over. The time for proving has arrived. Because the future hangs by a thread. The Rangers and the Rays are ready.
Got a ball in front of Siri, and it's off his glove, and now the throw goes into the dugout. Fans boo, and game one goes to the Texas Rangers.
This moment, filled with promise or regret. Is here. Now is all they got.
Miss your shot.
Yesterday, Corey Seager and the Rangers ended their franchise's 6-game postseason losing streak. He had 2 hits in the victory, while Randy Arozarena and the Tampa Bay Rays trying to find some offense here in the postseason. They've now dropped a franchise record 6 straight in the playoffs. If the Rangers win today, they would advance to Saturday's start of the division series against the #1 seed, the Baltimore Orioles. Later today in Minneapolis, Minnesota tries to eliminate the Toronto Blue Jays. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Sean McDonough along with Tim Kirkchin and Jessica Mendoza. Delighted to have you with us. And certainly, Tim, yesterday, Texas had a lot of help winning game one of this best-of-3 series. Kevin Cash, the Tampa Bay manager, told us before the game here this morning that that was probably their worst game of the year.
No, it was their worst game of the year. They made 4 errors. They've never made 4 errors in a postseason game. The last time they made 4 errors in any game was 2021. They didn't pitch very well yesterday. They only got 1 guy to third base yesterday. So in their last 27 postseason innings, they have not scored a run. In their last 33 postseason innings, they have 1 run and 2 extra base hits. They are a very resilient team, but they better play much better today. Otherwise, the season that began 13-0 is going to end.
And they'll be facing Nathan Eovaldi. He'll start today for Texas, a guy with a proven track record in the postseason. And for the Rays facing elimination, they have the man they want on the mound in Zach Eflin.
This is why they paid him all the money. He's the highest paid free agent in Tampa Bay Rays franchise history. And it's for a game like this. With their season on the line, he is the pitcher that slows things down. He has elite command. He's got so much stuff. But ultimately, he is the guy that they want because of this type of atmosphere. Then on the flip side, Nathan Eovaldi, he's got 11 postseason appearances. He has absolutely dominated this Tampa Bay Rays team. You look at the numbers, 1.44 ERA, the opposing batting average. But the biggest thing for him is he was an all-star the first half. He has struggled since coming off the injury list.
And he was injured late in the year and really did struggle over his last 6 starts. Eflin will match up with Nathan Eovaldi in game 2 of this wild card series. First pitch after this from our ABC stations. We're back in St. Petersburg, Florida, ready for game 2 of this American League wild card series. Texas leading Randy Arozarena and the Tampa Bay Rays 1-0 after their 4-0 victory here yesterday. Here's the lineup, and it's exactly the same for Bruce Bochy. No reason to change it. Corey Seager at .327, second in the American League in the regular season, went 2 for 4 yesterday. They'll take their swings against Zach Eflin the 28-year-old native of the Orlando area, and all of those numbers you see on the screen were in the top 10 in the American League.
And the team was 23-8 when he started. He is the guy, as Jeff said, that they want in this situation.
Another big guy, 6'6", 225, greeted by a flying ball to right by Marcus Semien. One pitch and one out as Josh Lowe put it away. That .742 winning percentage for Tampa Bay in games started by Eflin was the third highest winning percentage for any Major League Baseball starter who started a minimum of 20 games. Only Atlanta, 26-6 behind Spencer Strider in Baltimore, 24-8 under Dean Kramer, one more of the starters' games by percentage. Corey Seager, 327, second in the American League in the regular season, 3 points behind Yandy Diaz. He goes after the second pitch, hits a deep drive to center, and a stumbling attempt by Manuel Margot, and he couldn't catch it, shy of the 404 mark in straightaway center field.
He got a bad read. He actually came in on this first, and this is what we've talked about with Tampa Bay and their defense. Jose Siri was in there yesterday, had a mistake, but watch the reaction. Manuel Margot actually came in 2 steps, tried to go back, and at that point you're trying to play catch up on a ball that should have been caught had he read it correctly.
That's going to be scored a double, but that ball has to be caught. This is what happened to the Rays yesterday multiple times.
Siri's not in there today. He came out as Josh Lowe came into the starting lineup. Margot moved from right field to center today with Lowe in right. Siri considered the better defensive center fielder, but coming off a hand injury. They didn't want him to play 18 innings in a row after missing nearly a month with a fractured hand. So Seager with a double. He led the American League with 42 of them in the regular season. They're going up swinging early in the count. Robbie Grossman, the pop up and foul ground, and Yandy Diaz has it. Here's Coley Harvey down on the field.
Hi, Sean. After a breakout performance in Game 1, people outside of Texas are beginning to learn the name Evan Carter. He's the Rangers left fielder who was added to a storybook last couple of weeks. He was called up in early September. He turned 21 barely a month ago, and he went 2 for 2 yesterday at the plate. He had a sensational diving catch in the field. His manager, Bruce Bochy, told me today that he is a fascinating learner. He is constantly trying to pick people's brains and get better. He told me, Carter, told me that he thinks that comes from always being the young guy on the teams he grew up playing for, not to mention playing with his brother Eric, who is 6 years older than he is.
All right, Coley, thank you. It was certainly a terrific postseason debut for Carter. Crowd trying to help Eflin get out of the inning. He's ahead of Adolis Garcia. And now it's 1-2. Garcia 1 for 5 yesterday with an infield single. They won 4-0 yesterday despite leaving 13 men on base, the most they've ever had in a postseason win. Trying not to strand Seager, and the pitch just outside from Eflin. Hit on the ground to short. Routine play for Taylor Walls onto Yandy Diaz for the out. So the stumbling in center field did not hurt Eflin and the Rays in the top of the first. Back in St. Petersburg inside Tropicana Field, the Rays getting ready to bat for the first time. Yandy Diaz to lead off. He'll be followed by Randy Arozarena, who had 2 of their 6 hits yesterday while being shut out. He's now a .337 career hitter in the postseason. The only change, Josh Lowe in, Jose Siri out. Some of the spots in the batting order a little bit different for the Rays today as they go up against Nathan Eovaldi, a 12-game winner and an all-star in his first season with the Texas Rangers.
But in his last 6 starts, 9.30 ERA, 20 1/3, 13 walks, and 7 homers allowed. The stuff just isn't there, nor is the command. He's still coming back from that forearm injury.
It had him on the IL from late July until early September. Base hit into right field on the first swing of the day by Diaz. The American League's leading hitter in the regular season. That ends in 0 for 18 for Diaz in postseason play.
Is this not so classic Yandy Diaz? Remember, he struggled yesterday defensively and with the bat. This is him. Get that ball deep, 95 miles an hour, and just poke it through the right side of the field. That is so him and why he was the batting champion for the American League.
First Tampa Bay player to win the American League batting title. Here's Arozarena, a single and a double. Yesterday, he goes after the first and chopped it foul down the third baseline. The 254 in the regular season.
Evaldi's a 4-pitch pitcher. His best pitch this year has been that split. They're hitting 196 against it.
33-year-old native of the Houston, Texas area, still makes his home around Houston. And there's the repertoire for Evaldi, 6'2", 215 pounds. He's appeared in the postseason twice before, in 2018 and 2021 with the Boston Red Sox. He throws a slow curve on the outside corner for a called strike. Trip Gibson is the home plate umpire.
And Trip Gibson, one of the best ball strike guys in the league, was behind the plate in the World Series last year for the no-hitter.
And the pitch, he struck him out with a splitter. Arozarena fans for the first out of the ball game for Nathan Evaldi.
Timmy, that's the pitch you were just talking about. The best one that he's got. Really, everything relies on this. We've seen the velo go down on the fastball, but if the splitter is working like this, bottom of the strike zone to below, he will get a lot of swing and miss.
Tampa Bay now 1 for 12 in the series with men on base. And another tantalizing curveball at 74, swung on and missed by Harold Ramirez.
This is what makes the pitch so good, Sean. I mean, you look at the spin rate compared to MLB average, 300 more spins that he gets on that pitch, which is why it's so dirty and why it breaks so late.
Diaz leads from first, a swing and a miss at a splitter out of the strike zone. Ramirez 0 for 2 yesterday. Excuse me, 0 for 4 yesterday, and now 1 for 13 in his career in the postseason.
He saw 12 pitches yesterday. 11 of them were strikes. He swung at 10 of them. He was swinging at everything yesterday and again today.
He hits a double play ball to short. Seager to Simeon. That's as easy as it gets early in the ball game. 6-4-3. It's an 8-pitch inning for Nathan Evaldi. No score after 1 here in St. Petersburg. Royce Lewis arrived a little bit earlier in Minneapolis for Game 2 against the Toronto Blue Jays. That gets started at 4:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. 2 homers in his postseason debut as the Twins ended an 18-game postseason losing streak. And now it's Toronto facing elimination. They've lost 6 straight playoff games. Eflin throws ball 1 down and away to Nathaniel Lowe. 1 for 5 yesterday. He singled and scored the first run of the game in the second inning.
Eflin led the league in wins with 16, in part because of what Jess said. His control is elite. 24 walks in 177 and 2/3 innings. A strike thrower.
Watch to see how he'll attack these left-handed batters. He likes to go up and in with that cutter. It's been a pitch he's actually leaned a lot more on because against these lefties, and then off speed away.
So 5 years ago in the Phillies system, they told him, look, you're a big guy, and you need to throw your fastball up in the strike zone all the time. He did it for 8 starts and went terribly, and he said, look, I'm a sinker ball pitcher, and he's back to being sinker, cutter, curveball, and it's really good.
Look at the breakdown, the sinker that you just mentioned, and then the curveball he's going to throw a lot more to lefties. The cutter he's leaned on a ton. You'll see it up and in. 4-seam and change-up off of it.
Line drive to center had to be an anxious moment for Margot. And the Rays fans, as that one went in his direction, handled it cleanly. This postseason, get the best 5G coverage in the game with T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. So 1 out. We're in the second inning. No score. Here's the switch hitting catcher, Jonah Heim, an all-star this year.
So remember, there was a debate yesterday whether they should have sent him home from first on the double. I asked him before the game, should you have been sent there? He goes, no, I'm slow. You should not send me there.
His reaction looked so different. He had his hands up in his air like, come on.
He was 1 for 4 yesterday, a single and a walk. He'll be followed by Leody Taveras against Eflin. Good backdoor breaking ball. Here's Coley.
You guys were just talking about Jonah Heim not being sent going into third base yesterday. I actually caught up with third base coach Tony Beasley before the game and asked about that. He co-signed on what Heim just said. So you're getting it from the entire organization. They defend that decision.
And now the 1-2 to Heim is a fastball inside. Jess mentioned the deal Tampa Bay gave him. 3 years, $40 million to Eflin in the offseason. Hard ground ball and a base hit into right field. So Texas has its second hit. And that was the biggest total value contract that Tampa Bay has ever given to a free agent. He was clearly their #1 target. Kevin Cash told us before the game he was one of about 8 or 9 people from the Rays organization who made the trip over to Orlando to meet with Eflin and his family.
It was a big recruiting trip, and they got their guy.
Ordered takeout. Eflin's wife was pregnant at the time, so they didn't want to go out. But he's happy to be pitching close to home from the Orlando area, as we said earlier. And what a year he has had. He threw ball 1 to Taveras, the center fielder. He had 2 of their 9 hits yesterday, a couple of singles, stole the base. And he chops 1 foul.
It's interesting. Eflin, left-handed hitters are hitting .210 against him. Right-handed hitters, .260. His mixture of stuff makes him even more effective against lefties at times.
Watch how he attacks him.
And hard, and a great stop by Diaz. He caught it in the air, and it's a double play. He had a rough day at first yesterday, and Kevin Cash said it's largely because he's been bothered by a hamstring injury that kept him out of the lineup for a while late in the season. Ordinarily a much better first baseman than we saw yesterday. And that talent back on display today.
Don't want to miss out? Just tell Siri, show me today's MLB schedule.
Right on cue, here is the MLB Division Series schedule beginning Saturday. All the American League Division Series action will be on Fox and FS1, and our friends at TBS will have the National League Division Series. Baltimore, Houston, Atlanta, and the Los Angeles Dodgers waiting to find out who they'll be playing in that round. Of course, ESPN Radio is your home for every game of the postseason. Eovaldi threw strike 1 to Josh Lowe. Did not start yesterday with the left-handed pitcher on the mound, Jordan Montgomery, for the Texas Rangers. A ball outside. Lowe did appear in the 9th inning yesterday as a pinch hitter and walked against Jose Leclerc. Off a terrific regular season for Lowe, best of his major league career. Hit 20 homers and stole 32. He took a curveball low.
So we have the Lowe brothers, Nate and Josh, starting today. Their dad is at the game. Their mom is home fighting cancer. We're praying for her.
High fly ball to left. Kevin Carter makes the catch.
So I asked Nate before the game, what happens when your brother comes up? And he goes, well, the only thing I want is for him to get on first with 2 outs and then don't advance. That's the only time I want to see him today. He also told me Josh, who can really run. I said, is he way faster than you? He said, my brother can beat me running backwards. That's how fast my brother is.
A lot of people here thinking of Wendy. Isak Paredes takes a strike on the outside corner. 1 for 4 with a single yesterday after 31 home run regular season and 98 runs batted in. He likes to work quickly, especially when it gets in a groove, and that's one of the things Kevin Cash said. They try to slow him down, but that's kind of a hard thing to do with a pitch clock. Making his 12th career postseason appearance, his 7th start. All those previous outings, as we said, for Boston, Red Sox went 5-1 in his postseason starts, winning each of the first 5 before he lost in his most recent playoff start, Game 6 at Houston in the ALCS in 2021, a loss that ended Boston's season.
And with all of its postseason success and the way he carries himself, a bunch of their guys told me he has changed the culture in our clubhouse. Eovaldi has. In fact, Josh Smith told me before the game that all the rookies who made the team for the first time this year, he bought them all watches. That's a leader.
And the pitch is in the dirt, and it helps that you signed a 2-year, $34 million contract to come over from Boston. Bruce Bochy said when he was talking with Chris Young, the general manager, about taking this managerial job in the offseason, he was assured they would go out and improve their starting pitching. And they did. With Eovaldi, he throws strike 3 on the outside corner, and no argument from Paredes.
We made our own tequila, so we'd always have a reason to get together, so you'd always have a reason to get together. Grab a glass, amigo. Our casa is your casa.
Two outs, the base is empty. And a strike taken by Manuel Margot, 0 for 2 with the sacrifice bunt yesterday.
Eovaldi has been 6 for 6 first pitch strikes coming right after these hitters.
Margot took the curveball. Of course, Eovaldi's best known postseason appearance was in the 2018 World Series for Boston, when he came in relief in Game 3, pitched 6 innings in extra innings. Gave up just 1 earned run on the game-ending home run by Max Muncy, but Rick Porcello started that game for Boston, said it was the best pitching performance I've ever seen.
He threw 97 pitches in relief. They gave him a standing ovation when he came in the clubhouse. His teammates did.
Probably got himself a new contract with the Red Sox as a result of that. He was supposed to start the next day. Of course, Boston went on to win the World Series. He's fallen behind 3-1 with Margot. Challenged him with a fastball, and it's fouled out of play to our right. Looks to be about the same size crowd as we had here yesterday. 19,704. If you take out COVID postseason games, as we said at the outset, the smallest postseason crowd in Major League Baseball since 1919. And what a shame.
Yeah.
Line drive, base hit into right field, hit hard by Margot, who's been in a long postseason slump. Came in .211 batting average and no homers in his last 13 playoff games.
Those were 2 mistakes in a row by Eovaldi, and he missed the first one. I mean, you go fastball, middle. You need to be able to get this one to fine grass. Margot missed the one before this. He gets this one, get himself on base.
.28 innings and counting without a run in the postseason for Tampa Bay. Back to the 6th inning of Game 1 of the wild card round last year in Cleveland. They lost in 15 innings in game 2 to get eliminated last year. Were shut out 1-0. Shut out yesterday through 9 innings. It's the longest postseason scoreless stretch since 1992 in Major League Baseball. Curtis Mead, a swing and a miss.
And in that time, 2 extra base hits, 36 strikeouts.
From a team that was one of the best in baseball offensively during the regular season. That off-speed breaking ball again, and a good block by Heim. Tampa Bay averaged 5.3 runs per game in the regular season, second behind these Texas Rangers.
8 steals off Eovaldi this year, 4 caught stealing, so he holds runners pretty well.
Swing and a miss, and a pitch down and away. Mead strikes out. Eovaldi is fanned 3 through 2 innings. No score. We've played 2 here in Tampa Bay.
Welcome back to St. Petersburg. The story for the series, game 1, was definitely the errors from Tampa Bay. Yandy Diaz leading that. Started off with a missed throw, miscue, fielding, not able to get to a couple balls that got by him. Had that hamstring injury, just feeling tightness. And how about today? Second inning to end the inning. Diving play, double play, showing, okay, the hammy might have hurt a little yesterday, but feeling much better today. He's also had a knock. Doing a nice job of rebounding after a rough start yesterday.
Kevin Cash was asked before the game what it's going to take to get the offense going here in the postseason. He said Yandy Diaz has to lead the way. And so far, so good. No score. Zach Eflin facing the number 8 hitter, and a pretty good one at that, and Josh Young.
And Young, of course, has never seen Eflin. In fact, the entire 9-man lineup only has 11 at-bats against Eflin coming in career.
Little looping fly ball down the left field line. A diving attempt by Arozarena, and he couldn't get it. And Young is into second with a leadoff double. His first postseason hit after an 0 for 4 yesterday. Did drive in a run with a sacrifice fly.
I don't think he had a chance to catch us, and I love the effort anytime you want to dive, but when it's going down the line, you got to be sure. And look at where this bounces. Still feet from where Arozarena lands. And remember, we've seen him catch, put on the Superman outfit, and be able to get to balls, but this one was not a ball he was going to get to. Good effort, but a lot of misses from the outfield we've seen just these last 2 games.
A really big difference having a guy lead off with a single as opposed to a double. Double play is not in order, Jess. You are right. He should have played this on 1 hop and kept it to a single.
Rays in at the corners with Evan Carter up there, who had a history-making postseason debut yesterday. He reached base safely 4 times with 2 hits and 2 walks. Prior to yesterday, only 4 rookies in Major League Baseball history reached base safely 4 times in their postseason debut. He takes a strike. And 2 players did that yesterday. Corbin Carroll, the great rookie for the Arizona Diamondbacks, had 2 hits and 2 walks in their win at Milwaukee last night.
And we told you yesterday that Carter's nickname in the minor leagues was Full Count. This year, 75 plate appearances, went to Full Count 20 times, and then twice yesterday, and he's at 2-2. He sees a lot of pitches.
Just turned 21.
On cue.
And another Full Count.
He can run. Been playing left field. Bruce Bochy said eventually he'll be a center fielder. Bochy compared him to Steve Finley, who had a terrific Major League career. And there's ball 4. Just a little bit low and in. So the first 2 men are on for Texas. And here's Coley Harvey.
Yeah, Sean, I got a little more on Evan Carter. Before the game, I asked Rangers GM Chris Young what intangibles have kept Evan Carter on this team, and he mentioned Carter's maturity as being a big reason why. And, you know, Young is a former big league pitcher himself, and he said that when he was 21, the big league seemed so far away. He knows that he couldn't handle it. As for Carter, you know, he was committed to Duke before ultimately getting drafted into the big leagues, and he told me that his plan was to major in biology at Duke. He actually wanted to go into endometry, which means he wanted to be a dentist. Those plans obviously are on hold.
Wound up being a second-round pick in 2020. Strike at the knees to Marcus Semien, who's not so sure about the call. He's in an 0-2 hole. Fly to right on the first pitch of the game, looking for his first hit of this series. He led the American League in hits in the regular season. And in runs scored, he fouled one away to the right. Played in all 162 games, all of them in the leadoff spot.
And he drove in 100 runs, so he ties Darren Erstad for the most RBIs in an American League season, hitting out of the leadoff spot.
Batting with Young at second, Carter at first, no score, third inning. He sends one down the right field line. A long run from Lowe, and that is a foul ball, just barely foul by the 322 marker at the right field foul pole. Carlos Torres, the right field line umpire, with the call.
Bob Melvin, when he was the A's manager, told me that Semien is the most improved player I have ever seen. When he started his big league career, he had some issues defensively. He wasn't nearly the hitter, but it sounds corny. This guy outworks everybody every single day, and that's how he's become a multi-all-star. And this year, he's going to finish for sure in the top 5 of the AL MVP race.
He played every game. I mean, every single game.
It's a ground ball down to third. That could easily be 2, and it is 5-4-3. Paredes, Meade, and Diaz. And now it's Young at third with 2 outs.
Well, this is a huge play for the Rays. And keep in mind, Curtis Meade, the second baseman, that's not his natural position, but he makes a nice turn here and barely gets him at first. Again, he does not have a strong arm, but he hangs in there, and Diaz digs it out a little.
He's considered to be a good handler of throws at first base. They intentionally walked Seager to pitch to Robbie Grossman. Well, by this point yesterday, the Tampa Bay Rays had made 3 errors. They tied a major league record by committing at least 1 error each of the first 3 innings of a postseason game.
And the last time it happened was 1958.
Yeah, it's only happened 5 other times. And the last one was the Braves in Game 6 of the 1958 World Series against the Yankees. So Grossman, the switch hitter, batting third for the second day in a row. That was a late season development when Nate Lowe struggled. They moved Grossman to the number 3 spot. He's 0 for 5 so far in the series after a pop out to Diaz and foul ground in the first.
Switch hitter and much better batting right here.
And he pops it up. That will likely be out of play. Back into the seats. They've already left a man on base. And the Rangers, they've hit into a double play in each of the last 2 innings. And now Pinto, the catcher, wants to go to the mound.
Remember, yesterday the Rangers were 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. And remember, they've scored 12 runs in their last 5 games. They are a great offensive team, but they are not in a good spot right now offensively. They did not swing it well in Seattle. They got to get a big hit here if they're going to continue to move on.
Runners at the corners. And the pitch is a check swing of the ball in the dirt. Handled by Pinto.
Pinto is clearly their best defensive catcher. It is textbook how you block a ball in the dirt. And their defense is really important to them this time of year.
Shortstop Wall shading the middle, almost behind the bag. Swing and a miss. Grossman strikes out. The Rangers threaten but do not score. No score, middle of the third here in St. Pete. Customize your feed. Get personalized stats and highlights. Enjoy free live streams. They're all doing that right now. I'm sure they're all on the MLB app. No one talks to anybody sitting next to them anymore. They're just on apps. It's your home for postseason baseball.
That's how I talk to you. Hey, Sean, how's it going? I'm like texting you.
Yes, you're texting. We're a few feet away. You can download the MLB app today. Not the kind of history Kevin Cash and his Rays want to make. 29 consecutive scoreless innings now in the postseason. Tied for third longest of all time. And an inning away from second longest. Taylor Walls, one of the few who had a good day yesterday, a 201 hitter in the regular season. Had 2 of their 6 hits yesterday. And Kevin Cash was asked about the mood of his team. Said still very loose. Matter of fact, a couple of guys in the clubhouse were suggesting that I should hit Walls third today after the big day he had yesterday. Said they're in there playing ping pong, and we saw that in person this morning. Did not look like an uptight group at all facing elimination.
Shane McClanahan playing ping pong yesterday. Left-handed pitcher plays ping pong right-handed. So McClanahan told me his mother called him yesterday, and he was really down. His mother said, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "I was supposed to pitch today, but because he's injured and out for the season, it's driving him crazy. And the only way to get his competitive juices out is to play ping pong."
He was having a Cy Young caliber season. One of the 3 terrific starters. They lost due to injury and still won 99 games, one shy of the franchise record. Walls has gone to 2-2 with Eovaldi, with Rene Pinto, the number 9 hitter, on deck. And he struck him out. 4 strikeouts through 8 batters for Nathan Eovaldi. Coming up shortly, Sonny Gray. The name that has always struck me as an oxymoron, by the way. I mean, if it's Sonny, it's not Gray. But he's had a terrific year. And 18 strikeouts in his 4 postseason starts. Twins hadn't won a postseason game in nearly 2 decades. Won yesterday. What an electric crowd they had there in Minneapolis. Rocco Baldelli said a big part of their win. You know, they'll be alive today with a chance to advance. Pinto was swinging a miss.
Another first pitch swing for the Rays. When the first pitch is put in play against Eovaldi this year, the league has hit .350. That's kind of the idea. Go get him early.
He's attacked him early, but it's worked. We've seen great execution of the fastball, the glove side, which has been a way to these right-handed batters. Curveball, the splitter off of it.
Well, his stuff is much crisper today than in any start since he had the injury and came off the IL on September 5th.
Well, he was having such a terrific year. Eovaldi was the pitcher of the month of May in the American League. First such honor in his career. He had a 29 2/3 scoreless inning streak from late April into mid-May. 5th longest in franchise history. That's hit hard but way foul.
And the Rangers got some interesting news today. I spoke to Max Scherzer. He threw a bullpen today for the first time in a week. He threw 90 miles an hour. He threw all of his pitches. He said, "I turned the corner today." He still has hope to pitch at some point in this postseason. Nothing guaranteed, but he has hope.
I saw him walk back from that bullpen. He was high-fiving. I mean, of course, Scherzer's always amped up, but he was absolutely fired up, telling everyone that would listen, "I feel great. I'm ready to go."
I don't think he's going to be ready for the LDS. I doubt the LCS, but he's working at it.
There's a trade deadline acquisition to bolster their run for the postseason for the first time since 2016. Tim, Jess and I wish you would prepare a little harder for these games.
Just
show up and wing it. You didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, you don't even get to the ballpark early.
Swing and a miss for Pinto. 3 straight strikeouts and 4 out of 5 now for Eovaldi. Not sharp late in the regular season, but on target here in the playoffs.
Beautiful use of the fastball up in the zone, and we've seen the splitter work well. That's been the strikeout for 3 of the 5, but this is where he's been unpredictable.
He runs one inside to Diaz, who led off the Rays first with a single to right. Came in just a 173 career postseason hitter in 81 games. Too good a hitter to have that number stay down there for long. 1-1 now after the foul ball. Team playing without Brandon Lau, their second baseman, with power, a fractured kneecap, without Wander Franco on administrative leave. A lot of the onus has fallen on guys like Diaz and Arozarena, Josh Lowe. There's a lot of guys in the lineup today, a few of them anyway, probably might not even be in the major leagues had it not been for injuries to others.
I think that's part of the reason why Yandy Diaz, Kevin Cash talked about his nerves yesterday. He feels that pressure. He knows because of all the injuries that so much more of this team's success falls on his shoulders. First game of the postseason, and he had the nerves shaken.
Yeah, the whole team seemed a little jumpy. Won the batting title at .330. Was actually a fraction of a percentage point behind Corey Seager entering the last day of the regular season Sunday. He didn't play in their regular season finale. Seager did because they needed a win to win the division. He went 0 for 4. Did Seager in Seattle against George Kirby, who shut out the Rangers. And Diaz won the title by 3. Seager under it. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Eovaldi. We'll return with the Rangers and Rays after this from our ABC station. Back in St. Petersburg, game 2 of this American League Wild Card Series. No score. The top of the 4th. Texas batting against Zach Eflin. Dolis Garcia swing and a miss for strike 1. He grounded out to end the first.
So Eflin is like best friends with Aaron Nola, and they still keep in touch, and they texted each other yesterday because they're both starting today in these huge playoff games.
There's a long fly ball to left, way back, and gone. First home run of this series for either team. Dolis Garcia with a bomb way back into the left field seats. And the Rangers lead 1-0, 416 feet.
Well, this team really took off offensively when Young and Garcia came off the injured list in September, and Jess, he did not miss this one.
No, absolutely annihilated. This is a cutter that we've seen be up and away to these right-handed batters. This one misses low. That's that nitro zone for Adolis Garcia. In fact, he gets around this thing and pulls it that far.
He had 39 in the regular season, second in the American League behind Shohei Ohtani's 44. Nathaniel Lowe slices one foul. Tim, when you and I started covering this sport, baseball players didn't look like Adolis Garcia. Saw him down in the clubhouse yesterday. He would have been a defensive end or a tight end.
I've said it a million times. The biggest change in all the years I've covered is how big the players are. They're bigger, stronger, faster than ever, and they're getting bigger every year.
Grounded foul by Lowe. Well, in the postseason since the start of 2021, when you out-homer your opponent, you win.
This is the game we play today, Sean. You hit more homers than your opponent, you win regular season, and especially in the postseason.
It's the first home run we've seen, too, this series. Quiet bats yesterday.
And speaking with the Rays announcers before the game today, they told us Tampa Bay won only 20 games all year when the opponent scored first. They won 79 of their 99 when they scored first. That's a pretty significant number. Swing and a miss. Eflin strikes out Nathaniel Lowe, and it's the second strikeout for Zach in the first out of the fourth inning.
That's a good sign when he goes back to the pitch that gets hit out. And this is that cut fastball again, but this is where he wants it. He wants it up in the zone. See that kind of late action he gets on it.
Tim mentioned his friendship with Aaron Nola. Definitely a longtime Philadelphia Philly. All of his major league experience prior to this year was with the Phillies back to 2016. Line drive caught. Jonah Heim out on a line drive to the first baseman Yandy Diaz. You can wear what the players are wearing on field during the postseason. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more. Root for your favorite team on MLBshop.com. That's not what his favorite player is wearing, but it's sharp nonetheless. Line drive, base hit. First pitch swinging, Leody Taveras. Second line drive he's hit in the game. In the second inning, he lined to first, had a rocket caught by Diaz, and wound up as a double play.
And again, a lot of first pitch swinging in this game by both teams. And you know with Eflin, who is a strike thrower, is probably going to start you with a strike. And he gets a hanger in the middle there and rifles it up the middle.
Well, he's already walked one, and that's about a month's worth of walks for Eflin. Check swing by Young. Eflin's walk rate was 3.4%. Second lowest in all of Major League Baseball this season, behind only Seattle's George Kirby. What an excellent pitcher he is. He had a walk rate of 2.5%. Runner at first, one run in here in the Texas fourth. They lead 1-0, trying to win this series today and advance to play the Baltimore Orioles.
George Kirby, of course, beat the Rangers on Sunday, and Chris Young told me that's the best stuff we have seen all year, what George Kirby showed them on Sunday. And that's the reason why the Rangers are playing here instead of having won the AL West.
George Kirby's old school, too. He throws about 65% fastballs.
Young takes a strike just above the knees. He doubled the left field, was stranded in the third. When they had first and third, and nobody out, did not score.
And Eflin tough to run on. 7 steals this year, 6 caught stealings.
Big hole on the right side of the infield for Young. The runner takes off, and the pitch is dropped by Pinto. Don't think he was going to have a chance to get Taveras, who got a good jump, and it was an off-speed pitch as well.
Yeah, he got a great jump. There is no way, even if Pinto handles this cleanly, that he's going to be able to throw him out.
Second stolen base of this series for Taveras. Had one yesterday at 14 in the regular season. 3-2 pitch, a little pop up, long run for Lowe. He can run hard, and he doesn't get it. And a run will score. Taveras has scored. On his way to third is Young, and he is safe as the ball gets away from Paredes, and he was probably safe even if Isak was able to handle it. Well, Lowe can really run, but he didn't get there. Just in a tough spot for the Rays, and a 2-0 lead now for Texas.
He was really shading center field in this, and he had to go an awfully long way and in to get this. He can really run, and he just couldn't run that one down.
Well, the stolen base, the big play, because you wonder if Lowe, if the runner was at first base instead of second, if he doesn't even try to dive for that. There's a drive to right off the bat of Evan Carter, and what a postseason he is having. The 21-year-old rookie with a 2-run homer. And it is 4-0 Texas.
21 years old. He's batted 6 times in this series. He's reached base each time. 4 times yesterday, 2 today, and Jess, look at this.
Well, and he's sitting cutter. I mean, at this point, you kind of get an understanding. Left-handed batters, where he's going to go. We saw the patience in the last at bat. He ended up walking. This one, he's sitting up and in and absolutely crushes it.
That is the 12th homer this year that Eflin has given up on the cutter. Garcia and now Carter, and 10 during the regular season.
So 4-0 Texas, the margin by which they won yesterday. And Evan Carter at age 21 having one of the great starts to a postseason career in Major League Baseball history. Swing and a miss by Semien. He's 0 for 3 in the leadoff spot, but it's a 4-run inning, including a couple of homers. Garcia, the solo shot, got it started. And Carter capped the inning. Welcome to the Major Leagues, young man.
Welcome back to Tropicana Field. We're with Rangers manager Bruce Bochy. And Bruce, your offense got going. Big lift with the homers from Adolis Garcia and Evan Carter. From your vantage point, what was their approach this inning?
Well, just good at-bats. I thought we had some good at-bats earlier. We got some guys on base. We just could get a hit to, put a run across the board. We broke out there with the long ball.
I know your starter, Nathan Eovaldi, he's gotten the strikeout pitches going. 5 Ks through 3 innings so far for him. What do you like from him so far?
Well, he looks good. He's got the 4-pitch mix going. He's got good fastball. He's working both sides. He's a competitor, and you're seeing it right now.
All right, thanks so much, Bruce. Back to you guys.
He is indeed. He's pitching with a 4-0 lead. Evan Carter, the 2-run homer. Been on base all 6 times in his first 6 postseason plate appearances. There's a ringing line drive and a base hit in the center field for Randy Arozarena. He's doing his usual thing in the playoffs. He needs some help from his mates if they're going to get back into this game and force a deciding game 3 tomorrow. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play the great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. 3 hits now for the Rays, all of them singles. And strike 1 just above the knees to Harold Ramirez, who hit into a 6-4-3 double play to end the first. Short lead for Arozarena. He is a base stealer, but you wouldn't expect him to try down by 4. Stole 22 in the regular season. Strike. Nifty pitch on the outside corner from Eovaldi.
3 pitches, and Harold Ramirez hadn't swung the bat yet, which is most unusual for him. He swings at almost everything because he can really hit.
And Kevin Cash said yesterday Ramirez started swinging when he was in the on-deck circle. He said early in the game, he can get sped up a little bit, and then it's hard for him to get the approach back at the plate that works best for him. Said sometimes if it starts that way, he needs the pitcher to make a big mistake to get Harold back to where he wants to be.
And we told you yesterday his nickname is Barreled Ramirez because when he's right, he hits a lot of balls off the barrel.
Well, and he's a bad ball hitter, too, and that's why he gets excited expanding the zone. And you saw the splitter down below the zone. Most guys miss that. He'll still be able to get a piece, but then he expands even further. That's when he gets in trouble.
Swing and a miss at that off-speed curveball.
Oh, that's the curveball for the 6th strikeout, but we've really seen the fastball and the splitter have been the go-to pitches for Nathan Eovaldi. The 5 strikeouts leading up to that split below the zone, the fastball away, dotted, and again, being able to utilize both of those pitches off each other, tunneling them to get the splitter, and even elevating with the fastball to get the swing and miss. And this is where Nathan Eovaldi, the best that he has looked since coming off the IL.
There's a liner to right at Garcia. And Josh Lowe retired on 1 pitch. So 2 outs and a Rosarena still at first in the bottom of the 4th, with Texas leading 4-0.
Brad Miller of the Rangers told me yesterday, he said, if I could have one pitcher on our team start any game in the postseason, I'd take Nate Eovaldi. He said he's pitched in these situations so many times. He is the best at these things, and we're seeing it today.
Now, Jess and I have another question for you. Isaac Paredes hits a shot foul past Brady Williams, the third base coach, son of former big league manager Jimmy Williams. Is there anybody in either organization, player, coach, administrator, bat boy, that you did not speak to in advance of this search?
Sorry, Sean, I'm still a beat writer at heart. My job is to go talk to the players. Sorry.
Don't ever apologize.
And by the way, I think it's Jimmy Williams' birthday today.
It is.
It is.
You could just go home. You're done. You've done enough for these 2 days. I was going to say we could check that, but we don't need to. Well, happy birthday, Jimmy Williams.
Tim would be the phone call that we would check.
Yeah. 80 years old today.
And it's also Tony LaRucci's birthday today.
Okay. And we'll sing to both of them when we come back. Paredes strikes out. And Bo Bichette and the Blue Jays trying to stave off elimination. Game 2 against the Twins coming up in a matter of moments on ESPN.
Today's active play of the game brought to you by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. How it plays of the game, the 2 home runs in the 4th inning. Adolis Garcia getting the Rangers on the board with his 110 miles an hour. And how about the 9-hole? Evan Carter, 21 years old, 103 miles an hour. No one hit more home runs and has hit the ball harder in the American League than the Rangers. And just showed that off last inning.
Ground ball off the glove of the second baseman Meade, and Seager is safe to start the 5th inning. That's an error charged to Meade.
Right, he's got some clunky feet, the Rays tell me, and we saw it there. He just didn't get his feet in front of that ball. It's not an easy play.
That was clunky. Yeah, I think that was a good word.
Good second baseman makes that play. Again, he hasn't played very much baseball in his life.
Well, he's an Australian. So it's the first error of the day for Tampa Bay after a franchise record 4 yesterday. Meade did make history yesterday, the first Australian-born position player ever to play in a postseason game. There have been 5 Australian pitchers, but never a position player. Ground ball not hit very hard, but that's going to get through into center field for Robbie Grossman. And on to third goes Seager. And some boos starting to come down from the group. I'm not sure we could call it a crowd. The group here at the Trop.
Talked about exit velocity, huh? This is 69 miles an hour, almost off the top of the bat, but it's positioning. This isn't a ball that I don't think anyone's going to get to, but Meade now pulled over to the first base side after that last play. Finds its way through.
Eflin's given up 8 hits already. And the bullpen is in action. Colin Poche, left-hander, warming up. Kevin Cash said before the game he wouldn't manage any differently with his team facing elimination. They are staring at elimination right now. Down 4-0, and Texas threatening for more. The infield for the most part in. Line to third and caught. Quick reaction by Paredes. Fortunately for the Rays, he was close to the line. Another hard hit ball by Garcia, who homered leading off last inning to start the scoring.
Just great reacts, being able to get up, get to this one. Seen a couple defensive miscues from the Rays, but this one showing off the glove, hard hit ball. Easily would have scored, obviously 1, possibly 2.
Nathaniel Lowe takes a strike at the knees. He is lined to center and struck out. Seager at third and Grossman at first. And the breaking ball just missed. Boy, Seager's been all over the bases. He was on base 4 times yesterday with 2 hits, a walk, and he reached on an error.
How far off the plate Lowe is. Talked about that cut fastball coming in the lefties. He was more on the plate. Now he's backed away.
He hits a high chopper. It's going to bring in another run. The only play for Eflin is at first. Seager in to make it 5-0 Rangers. And on the play, Grossman went to second. Lowe has a run batted in.
And this is much more like the Texas offense that we've seen. They're putting the ball in play. They're hitting with power. And here, Nate Lowe doesn't get much of this, but it's such a productive out because it scores a run.
And another error that hurts the Tampa Bay Rays. Backdoor and a strike to Jonah Heim, who is singled and lined to first.
You just compare to that Ranger defense, which we talked about yesterday. 57 errors all year, 3rd fewest ever in a full season. 16 errors the second half of the season. They have played so much better defensively in this series than Tampa Bay, and it's showing.
The 1-1 is hit in the air in center. Margot has room shy of the warning track. But it's an unearned run against Eflin. And a 5-0 lead for Texas. Back after this from our ABC station.
Back at Tropicana Field with Rays manager Kevin Cash. And Kevin, the first 3 innings, your starter Zach Eflin seemed to be cruise control. The last couple of trips through the order, not as strong. What are you seeing from him here?
Well, they had some good hits there, placing balls right where they needed to. Zach's done a good job. We got to get our offense going. Just find a way to get back in the ball game and see what happens late.
Speaking of your offense, it's been 31 straight innings of scoreless ball for you guys on O. What has to change here these last few innings?
Let's get a couple guys on base and find that big hit.
Okay, thanks so much, Kevin. Thank you, guys.
He's been waiting for that big hit for a long time. 31 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason, back to the wild card round in Cleveland last year. Manuel Margot against Nathan Eovaldi. Routine fly to center for Leody Taveras.
They didn't get a runner to, they only got 1 runner to 3rd base yesterday. They haven't gotten a runner to 2nd base today. That's how dominant this pitching has been and how poorly the Rays have swung the bat.
They haven't come close to scoring. They had 1 man reach 2nd base yesterday after the 3rd inning. Paredes in the 6th inning. Curtis Mead.
It's catcher's interference.
I think they're calling catcher's interference. They'll take anything they can get right now. So they're trying to end the longest active postseason losing streak. Of course, the Reds not in the postseason. Blue Jays trying to end their 6 games in a row.
All right, so we'll score this E2, no time at bat for the batter. And here he hits Jonah Heim. Hits the glove, and that's enough. Jacoby Ellsbury reached base on catcher's interference more times than any player in baseball history. Broke Pete Rose's record. How about that?
You're just showing off.
Nah.
You really are. I mean, that's with no notes. Didn't have to look it up. Bochy came out, but clearly they got the call right. Lance Barksdale, the crew chief, first base umpire, came down. Been a well-officiated, well-umpired series. Adrian Johnson is at 2nd base today. Adam Beck at 3rd. Alex Tosi and Carlos Torres are along the lines in the outfield. Here's Taylor Walls, who took ball one low. He struck out in the 3rd inning.
You know, we're not allowed to shift anymore, as we know, but you can't get any closer to a shift than Corey Seager, who's almost right behind the bag.
I mean, his toes would be on the line that's drawn to not cross over.
And his first step is towards second base, so he's basically on the other side when the pitch crosses the plate.
He sprints across that line.
Seager almost directly behind the second base bag. Of course, you can't do that this year with the elimination of shifts. Walls took a ball low. That error that gets charged for catcher's interference, the first by Texas in this series. Eovaldi up to 64 pitches. He got hit hard in his last outing of the regular season in Seattle. Lasted only 3 1/3 innings, gave up 7 earned runs, including a grand slam to J.P. Crawford. Double play ball to second. Simeon, Seager, low. That ends the inning. Nathan Eovaldi pitching a shutout. They're up 5-0. We're back in St. Petersburg, Florida. Game 2 of this American League Wild Card Series in the best of 3. Texas can wrap it up today, and they have a 5-0 lead. MLB celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month by recognizing the contributions made to our game by the Latino baseball community, past and present. Follow at Los Mayores and at MLB, and visit losmayores.com for full coverage. Leody Taveras will lead off against the new pitcher, the left-hander Colin Poche, making his first appearance of this series. Got into 66 games in relief in the regular season. Had a very nice year. 12-3 with a 2.23 ERA. The opponents hit just 194 against him. Taveras, a switch hitter, swings through a fastball for strike 1. He lined out and singled against the starter Eflin.
That was the 4-seam fastball. He throws that 65% of the time. He's a fastball slider guy, and you're right, had a really good year.
Nasty slider there. And Taveras in an 0-2 hole. Bottom third of the order for the Rangers. Josh Young and Evan Carter to follow. Eflin went 5 innings, allowed 5 runs, 4 earned on 8 hits. He walked 2, struck out 3, gave up a couple of homers.
So I love this Tampa Bay bullpen because it's really good. But they also, the bullpen does the New York Times crossword puzzle every day. And Colin Poche is one of the ringleaders of the group. He and Pete Fairbanks. So Pete Fairbanks told me we do, as a group, the relievers, we do the New York Times crossword every day, and most days...
Baseball's changed a lot over the years,
right. Tim. Pete Fairbanks told me, I love to read. Have you ever heard a closer say, I love to read? So they do it every day, and he said, we never use a dictionary, we never cheat.
Do they do it together?
They do it. The 4 of them do it together, 3 or 4 of them together.
Fastball, wow.
Do they keep score? Like, is there? Well, they're all filling it out as one.
Yeah,
so there's no like competition.
They
at all.
acknowledge we can't do it by ourselves, but all 3 or 4 of us, we can get this done. Tom Seaver used to do it every day by himself.
There's strike 3. Taveras might have had an extended life, but he gets punched out by Poche.
Bravo! You use the Quicksilver card from Capital One with no annual fee and unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet?
There's a line drive to left off the bat of Josh Young. And it gets stuck in the padding. And it'll be a double. So Young, hitless yesterday, has 3 hits today, 2 doubles and a triple.
Again, this is the key to the Rangers lineup. 1 through 9, there is thunder. You've got Evan Carter hitting 9th. You've got Josh Young, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate, at least hitting 8th.
Well, here's Carter. You mentioned having one of the great starts to a postseason career in baseball history. And that's not hyperbole. He's reached base safely now on all 6 of his postseason appearances, including plate appearances, including a home run the last time up. The only player who reached base safely in more plate appearances to start a postseason career, Jorge Soler, who did it 9 straight plate appearances. That was for the Cubs against the Cardinals in the 2015 NLDS. He was also a rookie like Carter. He has walked and homered today after 2 hits and 2 walks yesterday. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Rare chase, too, from Evan Carter, which shows you how good the slider is. Poche and how he's able to get that out of the zone.
He was the youngest Ranger to ever hit a home run in the postseason. 21 years, 36 days.
Back at the 4th inning, Carter absolutely annihilated. 103 miles an hour off the bat. Take a look at the numbers for this. Again, your 9-hitter, what he's shown in his at-bats, 391 feet. 102 miles an hour, 105 miles an hour for the bat. Taking a look at StatCast, powered by Google Cloud.
Put him on the bench. Finally retired in the playoffs. In his 7th plate appearance, he goes down swinging. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Poche.
And there's that slider. He took a little bit off that. He had him out in front just a little bit. He might have been looking for that fastball.
Strike 1, excuse me, ball 1 into Simeon. 0 for 3. And now 0 for 7 in the 2 games. Trying to deliver Young from second. We're in the 6th inning. 5-0 Texas. A win, and they advance to face Baltimore in the division series starting Saturday. And perhaps a fan doing a little scouting here today. Report back to the Orioles staff.
Calling Brandon Hyde.
Is Brandon Hyde a lock for manager of the year? Kevin Cash to win 99 with everything they had to deal with. Bruce Bochy to take this team to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. A lot of candidates worthy of consideration.
Rangers won 68 games last year. They won 90 this year with all of these injuries with Scherzer and DeGrom, and Bruce Bochy kept the ship afloat because that's what he does, because he never panics in any adversity.
Chopped down the line, foul. Bochy was out of baseball for 3 years, retired after 2019 for that great run with the Giants, 3 World Series. He's 68 years old now. He said he was ready to step away. He was beat up. He had 2 new hips, a new knee. But he started to miss it. Said, I'm glad I wasn't around during COVID. I wouldn't have enjoyed managing in that experience. He managed the French team as they tried to qualify for the World Baseball Classic, and he said, I'm glad nobody watched me manage that because we weren't very good. I might not have got another opportunity, but Chris Young reached out to him. They met for 7 hours, and Bochy was convinced this was the right place to come back. He knew they had a terrific lineup. He was assured during a 7-hour chat with Young that they'd enhance the pitching. Here they are in the playoffs in his first season.
Right. Young, of course, pitched for Bochy in San Diego, so he knew And he promised him, we're going to get you some pitching. And more important, he said, you're going to manage the team. We're not going to have the front office do it for you, as it happens in some teams.
There's a shot toward the gap in left center. That's going to bring home another run. Simeon's first hit of this series is a double. And Texas leads 6-0.
To repeat, the Rangers led the league in runs scored this year. They led the league in walks. And here, Jess, he gets a ball in the middle of the plate.
It's amazing, too, how hard they continue to hit the ball, too. This is a pitch that's supposed to be middle away. Marcus Simeon's able to get around it, get barrel on it.
It's on the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Here's Corey Seager. His doubled, walk, reached on an error. He scored after reaching on the error the last inning. Stunned silence here in St. Petersburg. And there's a drive to right field. That will one-hop the wall. Seager's on his way to second as Simeon crosses the plate. It's another double for Seager. His second of the ball game, third of the series, after an American League leading 42 two-base hits in the regular season. And the rout is on. It's 7-0.
And again, this is what the Rangers do 1 through 9. They just punish you. And this ball is up, Jess. He can really hit that high pitch up and in.
Talking to Corey Seager before the game, he's all about feel. He doesn't want to watch film on pitchers. He wants to know what shapes they throw because he wants to get in the batter's box. He knows his own angles and has an understanding of what his bat path is. So just tell me the shape of the pitches I'm going to see, and I'll hit one. It's unbelievable the season that he's had and kind of the difference and variance of hitters and how they approach. But watching and sitting down with Corey Seager in a batting cage is one of the best things that you can do for anyone that wants to learn the game.
Remember, the Rangers scored 10 or more runs in a game 26 times this year. That's the most in the major leagues. The record is 41 times by the 1936 Yankees. They didn't come close to that.
Saw Zach Littell warming up in the bullpen. Poche's given up 2 runs in the inning. There's a little lob. That could be a problem for Diaz. Nice play. He wins most improved. And it ends the inning, but 2 more across for Texas.
Yandy Diaz, how about the drop step going back? We've seen a lot of balls fall into shallow right field, but Diaz making a great grab to end the inning.
The NHL season returns with an opening night triple-header. Hockey is back. How you feeling about your first game? Super excited. Pretty cool to face off against you.
It's an opening night triple-header on ESPN and ESPN+.
Opening night, Tuesday night. Some Tampa Bay Lightning players are here. Anthony Cirelli, Nick Paul, Brandon Hagel, Austin Watson. And Rene Pinto slices a foul ball.
Sean, you're doing hockey also.
A Tuesday night. We will be in Pittsburgh, part of that triple header for Connor Bedard's NHL debut.
So we have
Chicago Blackhawks.
Baseball tonight, football on Saturday, hockey on Tuesday.
Correct.
And college basketball when it starts.
No. They threw me out of that. Jay Billis wanted nothing more to do with me, so we're focusing. And that feeling's mutual, by the way. No, I'm kidding. We love Jay. But focusing on the hockey and the college football. We have big game. Kentucky, Georgia, 7 o'clock Saturday night on ESPN. 2 undefeated teams. Pinto leading off, the number 9 here, than Diaz and Arozarena. And they're getting very close now to dubious history. I mean, they haven't had a run since the 6th inning of Game 1 last year against the Cleveland Guardians. 32 straight postseason innings. And they haven't had a runner reach second base in this series since the 6th inning of yesterday. That is 8 innings and counting without a runner reaching second base. I mean, that is about as anemic as it gets offensively, and such a surprise for a talented team.
Right, and they were the best offensive team in the American League for the first 2 months of the season, but then the injuries started, and they just haven't been able to catch up.
Nathan Eovaldi fired a ball inside.
And they're still a team that averages over 5 runs a game. I mean, they're second in the American League in pretty much every single category behind this Rangers team.
That's a routine fly to center off the bat of Diaz. 2 outs.
I just took a shower above the clouds. You know why? Because this is the Emirates A380.
Well, a masterful performance by Nathan Eovaldi. He did pitch the rare, as he throws strike one to Arozarena, complete game shutout during the regular season. Shut out the Yankees on 3 hits on April 29th, a 3-hitter. Had 2 complete games in the regular season, another against Pittsburgh. He bounces one up there.
He was a Cy Young candidate 3 months into this season. That's how good he was. And then the forearm came up and he struggled to get it back. But Jeff, not today.
This is what we saw in the first half.
Still managed to win 12 games. Second highest total of his career. It's been a career plagued by injuries. He's been on the injured list every season starting in 2016 except 2021. And pitched briefly for Tampa Bay in 2018. He said he will always be grateful to the Rays because he was coming off his 2nd Tommy John surgery of his life. Didn't know if he'd even be able to throw a ball, but they still signed him as a free agent. Now a Texas Ranger. Arozarena, easy hop for Young. Arozarena's out on a bang-bang play. They go quietly in order. They're 1 inning away from tying the longest scoreless streak in postseason play. Back after this from our ABC stations. We're back in St. Petersburg, where it's looking like the Rays are going to be eliminated, barring a miraculous rally here in the late innings. The National League Wild Card Series continue with Game 2s tonight. Diamondbacks at the Brewers, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Marlins at the Phillies, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Arizona and Philadelphia trying to wrap up their series. The Braves and Dodgers standing by. Congratulations to Mike Hazen, terrific general manager of the Diamondbacks, reported today that his contract has been extended, deservedly so. Sean Armstrong, the new pitcher, he hit the outside corner with a strike to Adolis Garcia. 33-year-old right-hander got into 39 games. His season didn't start till June, started the year on the injured list.
He's been flat out dominant though, Sean, when he is healthy. Probably got the most electric cutter fastball combination out of any bullpen. Hitters hitting under 100 against his 4-seam fastball and that cutter.
1.38 ERA for him, 52 innings, 36 hits, and they're under 200 against the cutter. He's got a pretty good repertoire.
Garcia started the scoring with a leadoff home run in the 4th off Zach Eflin. He waves at a pitch outside for strike 3.
You want to see late life. Look at this fastball just take off. This is your home run hitter 2 innings ago, just waving at it.
Armstrong's been around. He's pitched for Cleveland, Seattle, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Miami, and then back to Tampa Bay. So a fastball by Nathaniel Lowe. who's 0 for 3, did pick up a run batted in with a ground out in the 5th inning.
So the Lowe brothers played together in the Rays system for a brief time. They also played in high school together, but Josh was a freshman and Nate was a senior. So Josh came up for one game, he pitched, and they won the game when his brother Nate hit a walk-off grand slam. Pretty good way for two brothers to get together for the first time.
You're told when they faced each other as opponents, they brought the lineup cards out to home plate.
They did, right.
Which is a cool thing.
Josh told Nate, just don't hit it near me because I'm going to catch it.
Fastball up and away. 1-2 on, we're going to call him Nathaniel. They sometimes called Nate, but we're told his mom prefers Nathaniel. And so Wendy, we will honor that. And the prayers will continue. Has to be so emotional for both of these Lowe brothers. Hoping their mom would be here, but battling cancer. She is not. Little looper, and that's in for a hit. So Nathaniel Lowe now 2 for 9 in this series.
So in that Seattle series, Bruce Bochy was not happy that it was too much home run or nothing. And he said, we need to use the whole field way better than we did in Seattle. And they have today. They have hit the ball all over this yard today.
We have 12 hits. 8 of them have gone for extra bases. There's Jonah Heim, 1 for 3, a single his first time up. Then he looks at a strike.
Well, they've done a lot more of that. They're taking more pitches that aren't in the zone that they're looking against that Seattle team. Granted, their pitching was ridiculous, but still, like, they were chasing. They were trying to make things happen. They were trying to win the division.
They're a very patient hitting team when they're right. They led the league in walks for the first time since 1978. Toby Harrah and Mike Hargrove were on that team. You remember how many times those guys used to walk. And they led the league in on-base percentage for the first time in the history of the franchise.
And Jessica, you will support this for our audience. Tim has no notes in front of him.
This is all memory.
I was on a talk show in Dallas this morning, a radio show, and one of the gentlemen said, I just want to hang out with Tim Kirkjian, fireside chat, watch some baseball. And we are blessed that we get to do that next to you. And the reason you have all these stories, and I don't want to embarrass you, I know I will. You are as well liked as any person in the game. You know, a lot of times people don't want to take the time to talk to we members of the media.
Yeah.
But because of the regard, the respect, the affection the people in this game have for you.
All right, enough.
Hall of Fame status. That helps.
That's well hit by Heim. Sending Margot to the warning track. 2 down here in the 7th. Texas in cruise control, 7-0. Here's Coley Harvey.
I know Tim doesn't want to hear this, but I'm going to pile on right here, too. One of my favorite memories with my father. My dad loves baseball just like I do. Game 7 of the 2016 World Series, Cubs and Cleveland, and we were watching that with Tim as the rain began to fall. Just a memory that I'll always cherish, so I can co-sign with that radio always said.
Well, thank you. I remember that night very well, as we all do.
Coley was 8. Taveras takes a ball just outside from Armstrong. Toronto and Minnesota just getting started. The Twins trying to wrap up that series. I don't know about you, but if you had crowd envy watching those other 3 games last night, Minnesota, I mean, that place was vibrating. Philadelphia, Milwaukee, the same thing. And here, of course, they haven't had anything to cheer about.
Like you said, Sean, 1919 was the last time a playoff game was played with a smaller crowd than this.
Yeah, well, yesterday.
Right.
We don't know if this
yes.
is bigger. If it is, it isn't by much. It was 19,704 here yesterday. Then we asked Kevin Cash before the game, is that disappointing to you or your team? He said, there'll be a time I'll talk about that, but this is not now. I said, well, why are they building the new stadium here where nobody's come here for all these years and you have had a really good team? He said, there'll be a time I'll talk about that, but today is not the day. And it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's a hard place to get to for a lot of people who live in this beautiful area.
You're absolutely right.
Bob Uecker is here. Little Bob Uecker seats. Now, Coley's too young to remember that reference. Rosa Rain of the catch. Tavares retired. Now the biggest question is, will the Rays make history? If they don't score in this inning, they will.
Game happening right now on ESPN. You got Kevin Biggio at the plate facing Sonny Gray. Got the curveball. He knows how to use it. Twins got the win yesterday against the Blue Jays. We're still scoreless in the first, guys.
All right, Nicole, thank you. If necessary, wildcard game 3s will come your way tomorrow on ESPN and ABC. Looking doubtful it'll be necessary in this series. Game times still to be determined. Depends on how many game 3s there would be, where they would be played. So in this day and age, there's plenty of places you can find out what time the games are going to start. So no runs in 33 postseason innings in a row. Tampa Bay, the record is 34. The streak that ended in 1974 by the Angels. That was the streak that lasted for a decade. From the mid-60s to the mid-70s. Harold Ramirez against Nathan Eovaldi. Pitching a masterpiece. Eovaldi, one of the biggest games of his career. Ramirez is 0 for 2. And if he keeps swinging at that, he's going to be 0 for 3. Just 79 pitches for Eovaldi. Big, strong guy, works out very hard. And one of the great grunters among pitchers in Major League Baseball. Puts a lot of effort into the delivery, and you hear that.
You can feel his emotion, too. I mean, he competes. When he's out there and he misses a pitch, you'll see it in body language. You can tell it's max effort every pitch.
Missed a little bit low and away. Ramirez, Josh Lowe, and Isak Paredes coming up. They still haven't had a runner reach second base, Tampa Bay, in this game. And they've had only one reach since the end of the third inning yesterday. One reach scoring position. That was Paredes in the 6th inning yesterday. And it took an error to get him there. He had that hit down the left field line that Carter mishandled. It got Paredes to second. Tried to pull a pitch away, hit a chopper to short, and Corey Seager throws him out. We talk about Nathan Eovaldi, such a good guy, too. You mentioned earlier, great teammate. When he was in Boston, very involved in the Jimmy Fund, reminiscent to many of us of Tim Wakefield. And I know all of us want to add our condolences to the Wakefield family, the Red Sox Nation. The shocking and tremendously sad passing. One of the great pitchers in Red Sox history. There's a base hit in the left by Josh Lowe. I thought it was instructive about how Tim Wakefield was regarded around the game, and always will be. Yesterday, when we met with the two managers, Bruce Bochy and Kevin Cash, talking about their teams in this series, both of them brought up Tim Wakefield without being asked about him. Still very much on the hearts and minds of people who are playing huge games.
Right. He was such a beloved guy in the game. He was with several teams, and the outpouring of emotion from all of his teammates after he passed was just amazing.
Ball up and away to Isak Paredes. We started to talk about it yesterday. Tyler Glasnow struggled yesterday, wasn't helped by the defense. His career postseason ERA now is third highest of all time among those who've made 10 postseason starts. But one of the two ahead of him higher on that list is Tim Wakefield. You know, Tim Wakefield took the ball a lot of times in situations where his team needed to go out there. And I think in 1992, when he was a Pittsburgh Pirate, and threw 2 complete games, if I recall correctly, against the Braves, and probably would have been the MVP of that series had the Pirates not lost that game 7. Off the glove of Young and out in the left center field. Paredes is aboard. They get low to second. So that's the first base runner in scoring position today for Tampa Bay. And can they get a run across now to avoid tying the longest scoreless drought in postseason history?
They scored that a hit. I think they should have. This would have been a difficult play. Not sure he gets to force at second here. So first and second, the Rays have a chance here. And
Josh Boers warming up without a hat in such a rush to get going. Yeah, and they really haven't hit a hard ball in this inning against Eovaldi. The opposite field hit by Lowe. That one by Paredes. Could have been played. Manuel Margot trying to bring this crowd to life.
Boers just put his hat on, and now he's really heating up down there.
He had to get the pitch calm in the hat. Put it on his head.
That pop-up in shallow center for Tavares. You need to keep your eye on the ball at all times when it goes up against the backdrop here, because the ceiling is the color of the baseball. And it can be hard to find. So 2 outs, and it's up to Curtis Mead. Or the Rays will make history they don't want to be a part of. He has struck out and reached on catcher's interference today. Late swing and a foul back by the on-deck circle where Taylor Walls is standing.
Yes, this is amazing. His last time out, he got clobbered. Yeah. And today he has been masterful at the most important time.
Especially that fastball splitter combo.
They're 1 strike away from 34 straight scoreless innings, and Mead fouled one back to the screen. .93 pitches. You wonder if it's coming toward the end of the line for Eovaldi. Been a shaky bullpen a lot of the year, but they have a big cushion right now. And that's fouled off Mead's foot.
He hadn't thrown 90 pitches in a start since he came off the IL on September the 5th. So this is his longest outing when it comes to pitches. And you're right. You shouldn't push him after this.
They used Chapman in the 8th yesterday, Leclerc in the 9th. They have been the 2 go-to guys late. Bochy said it's possible Chapman could pitch today. Breaking ball, check, swing, no swing, said Lance Barksdale.
And they also have Dane Dunning available today if they really need him. He started, of course, on short rest in Seattle over the weekend, but they're going to really need him if they get through this for the Baltimore series. Dunning's had a very good year for them.
And Mead fights off another The next pitch will be the 21st of the inning for Eovaldi. And the 7th pitch of this at bat for Curtis Mead. In the dirt with the splitter.
This has been one of the better at bats, just working the count. Because if you have any chance to beat the Rangers, you need to get to their bullpen. That's been their biggest weakness.
Low the runner at second and Paredes at first. Now the 2-2 pitch. Line drive to left, but a base hit. They're going to send the runner low. The throw to the plate, not in time. And they narrowly avoid the longest scoreless streak in postseason history. It took a 2-out hit after a terrific at-bat by Curtis Mead. And Texas has finally surrendered a run. Tampa Bay finally on the board.
2 outs, 2 strikes. And this has been the pitch to the splitter. Finally gets one up enough. Get this one out into the outfield. And finally, the Rays are on the board.
Bochy takes the ball from Eovaldi. Magnificent today. He departs with his team leading 7-1 in the 7th inning on ABC.
Nathan Eovaldi having the best start that he has had since coming off the IL. You look at the number, 6 2/3 innings pitched, just the 6th hit, 8 Ks, and how he did it just changing the eye levels. He started with fastballs and then went down in the zone with a splitter, really changing the eye level for these hitters, being able to locate his pitches, but also having nasty movement. Looked like strikes, ended up balls, and when he elevated up, he then went back downstairs. Curveball late actually was a pitch that he went to get the last 3 Ks for Nathan Eovaldi. A huge start for his Texas Rangers team.
They lead by Josh Sborz, who had a 5.5 ERA in an injury-plagued season. 3 stints on the IL. Crowd will get right back into this with another hit from the Rays. And it's a pinch hitter. Junior Caminero, the 20-year-old rookie, youngest player in this postseason, will wait as time is called.
We talked about him yesterday. Started the year at A-ball, came up from AA, hit 31 homers in the minor leagues. He has prodigious power. Some of the greatest BP I've ever seen is from this kid.
Takes the ball way outside.
Talked to him before the game, and he said his biggest goal yesterday was to get the heart rate down. He's like, it's something I've had to do just coming up as of a couple weeks ago, but he's like, I can feel this pressure, and I have to just be able to stay within myself.
Jess, on Sunday, he had a home run in Toronto, 107 miles an hour off the bat, and the ball was in on him, and he hit it to right center like a missile. It was amazing.
And Sborz looked like he caught a spike on that delivery. Eovaldi pacing now in the dugout.
4.77 ERA for the Ranger bullpen this year. 85 home runs allowed. This is the 1 weak part of this team. Sborz needs a strike here.
And Caminero hits it very high to left. It's going to stay in the ballpark. And it is caught by Carter. So the Rays settle for 1 and Strand 2. After 7, 7-1 Rangers. Sean McDonough, Tim Kirkjian, Jessica Mendoza, our producer Jeff Dufine, our director Jimmy Platt. Delighted to be bringing you postseason baseball from St. Petersburg as we look at our game track, brought to you by Volvo. Nathan of all the outstanding. Evan Carter's had a history-making start to his postseason career. Seager, as usual, all over the bases. And finally, the Rays scored in this series after going 33 innings without a run. Here's Zach Littell, the new pitcher for the Rays. His first offering is sent back to the screen by Josh Young.
87 innings, 9 walks, 72 strikeouts for Littell. He's been a very effective pitcher, starting and relieving.
And a foul by Young. He has a chance to make history. He has 3 hits, all of them for extra bases. 2 doubles and a triple. No rookie has ever had 4 extra base hits in a postseason Major League Baseball game. He's the 6th rookie to have 3 extra base hits in a playoff game. Littell follows Eflin, Poche, and Armstrong.
Sean, to repeat the note you had earlier, 4 times reached base in a postseason game by a rookie. It happened twice yesterday, and it only happened 4 other times in history. It's amazing. It's a young man's game today. We have so many good young players. It's incredible.
And this man is one of them. And a ball just inside. Young, Evan Carter, and Marcus Semien coming up. Littell, 27, a North Carolinian. Came back to the Rays off waivers from Boston in May. The guys go elsewhere and struggle. They come here and they're just rejuvenated.
Eric Neander and his staff have done an amazing job filling the holes with these incredibly difficult situations with all these starting pitchers that they've lost to injuries.
Kyle Snyder, the very highly regarded pitching coach. Littell, a strikeout of Young. Here's Carter, finally retired in his 7th plate appearance of this series. Last time up, struck out after reaching base his first 6 times, including a 2-run homer in the 4th. The only other rookie to homer in a postseason game for Texas, Mitch Moreland. One ball and 1 strike. The attendance here today, a little bit better than yesterday, not by much. 20,198. That's 494 more than we had here yesterday, for the smallest postseason crowd, excluding COVID, in more than 100 years.
We talked about that 1919 game. Shoeless Joe Jackson went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs in the game. That's how long ago it was.
Tim was there.
I was going to say. Jimmy probably interviewed him after the game.
Yeah, Shoeless Joe told me before the game.
Exactly.
1-2 on Carter. 7-1 Texas, a win, and they are on to the division series to face Baltimore. Carter sends one down the line. Long run for Arozarena, and he can't get through. Rangers have lost their last 4 playoff series.
You know, it still amazes me that we have a Major League stadium that's got the bullpens in play. You know, with the next new stadium here, they'll do something about it. Just baffles me how you have to run over a mound to make a play in a major league game. With the new ballparks, we don't have bullpens in play anymore.
You think they'll have catwalks in the next one? Ball outside.
Makes for fun rules.
We want one up there now because, we have Charlie Relaford, longtime Major League Baseball umpire, still works for Major League, but did such a great job
Explaining. I mean, if you hit one of them, it's an automatic home run. I mean, there's so much fun. It reminds me of.
No,
oh,
if
sorry,
you hit one, I mean, if we're going to go there, Jess, let's go A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head.
I remember. It's foul.
The A ring is the highest one, the smallest circle that goes around the speakers, and then it comes B, C, D as they come down toward the field.
I don't know. If I'm taking BP here, all I'm looking at is those rings, and I'm trying to hit one.
They're high. They don't come into play very often. But to think this was built for baseball. And Carter, looking like he thought he was hit by a pitch. The Rays rather wanted a strike. And Carter's asking the home plate umpire, what's going on here, Trip Gibson? He didn't swing, and he did get hit by the pitch. So he'll take first base after we check in with Nicole.
Well, guys, you got the chance to watch that Nathan Eovaldi gem. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, it's Sonny Gray on the mound, and he is putting in some work. Whole 39 pitches through 2 innings, but getting on a jam. And once again, the Blue Jays stranding runners. We're still scoreless in the third.
So Carter reaches again.
7th time he's been on base in this series already. And Sean, I just noticed, we talked all week about him being Mr. Full Count. Look at his number. It's 3-2.
3-2, yeah. That's what it should be. Here's Simeon, who joined the hit parade with a double. Last time up, those in the 6th inning. 1 for 4 today. 7-1 Texas in the 8th. To center field, and Manuel Margot snares it. Last time the Rangers won a postseason series was the ALCS in 2011 against Detroit. They went on to the World Series. Lost to St. Louis in heartbreaking fashion, and have lost 3 postseason series since then, most recently to Toronto in the American League Division Series in 2016, the last time they made the playoffs. Seager took a borderline strike. Littell throws one in the dirt. Having a terrific season is Corey Seager, best of his career. Spent a lot of money to go get him, to go get Simeon. And Bruce Bochy knew what he had, and he took this job. He said it was a terrific hitting team, just needed to get some more pitching. Fastball taken for a strike.
And they did get some more pitching. They went and got Eovaldi, and they went and got DeGrom. And Eovaldi was terrific today.
Oh, boy. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, check swing, strike 3, said the third base umpire Adam Beck. That ends the inning. 7-1. Texas will return after this from our ABC stations. The MLB Division Series begin Saturday. The ALDS will be on Fox and FS1. And the NLDSs, I don't even know what the plural is of that, will be on TBS. We wish our friends and colleagues from Fox and TBS well.
So if the Rangers win, I will be covering the Orioles-Rangers for radio, which means I'll be going back to Texas where I used to cover the Rangers in the early 80s for the Dallas Morning News. My first spring training there in 1982, I was 25 years old, and Mickey Rivers in spring training, who I've known for 3 weeks, asked me, Tim, can I borrow $2,000?
Really?
I said, Mickey, I'm making $12,000 a year. I don't have $2,000. A major league player asked to loan me, wanted me to loan him $2,000.
And the answer was no.
Of course, I didn't have $2,000.
Well, it's great here at ESPN. You're doubling that now. A major success story. Fastball swung on and missed. Spores strikes out Pinto. Pinto fans for the 3rd time. And don't forget, Tim just mentioned ESPN Radio has every postseason game. You'll be involved in that as well, too, Jess.
Yeah, I'm headed to LA. Got Dodgers and the winners of Brewers D-backs.
Spores has retired both batters he faced. He's out of the University of Virginia from the Washington, D.C. area, facing Diaz, who singled his first time up, 1 for 3. Spores originally drafted by the Dodgers. They're a good fastball by him. He returned late in the season, kind of like the 3rd guy in that bullpen.
It is.
They lean on Chapman and Leclerc, but if there's another guy they seem to trust the most, it would be this man.
Right, because he has overpowering stuff when he's right. That four-seamer he throws 97. He is really good when he's right, and he's one of their 3 most reliable relievers.
Missed blowing away with a breaking ball. Diaz wouldn't chase it. Grounded up the middle. Gobbled up by Seager. And the Rangers are 4 outs away now from the division series and a date with the Baltimore Orioles. And I know we all agree it's great that Bruce Bochy is back in a dugout at age 68. Arozarena. Let the record show they didn't verbally agree, but they did nod their head. They all like Bruce Bochy. Another 1-2-3 inning, and we head to the 9th. Day 2 of this wild card round. The Twins yesterday snapped an 18-game postseason losing streak. Royce Lewis hit 2 home runs. Twins trying to eliminate Toronto today. The Diamondbacks rallied from 3-0 down to win 6-3 in Milwaukee, their first playoff appearance since 2017. And Zach Wheeler outstanding for Philadelphia as the starting pitcher in their Game 1 win over the Marlins. Zach Littell still out there for Tampa Bay, facing Robbie Grossman. The DH, 1 for 4 today, and he takes the ball just high. Grossman, Garcia, and Nathaniel Lowe coming up. Toronto and Minnesota in the bottom of the 3rd now in Minneapolis. Grossman swung at a pitch down and out of the strike zone.
And Sean, to answer your question from the last inning, we're all thrilled that Bruce Bochy is back because he's a baseball lifer. He should be here. You know, when they lost 8 games in a row and 20 out of 30, Chris Young went to him and said, "Are you sure you wanted to come back to watch all this?" And Bochy said, "Look, I'm thrilled to be here. I love this because if I were at home, I'd be sitting in a rocking chair right now." And here he is, likely going to the LDS.
After more than 3 decades living in San Diego, he moved to Nashville to be close to his grandchildren. Said he was enjoying coaching his grandson Braxton, now 5 years old, T-ball team.
No,
but it's a little different.
I think we can thank that T-ball team for getting him back into the majors, because after coaching for 1 year, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, I love my grandchildren, but there'll be a time. And he said he kind of knew when he was coaching the T-ball team at one point, and Braxton announced he was leaving because he had to leave. Take care of something.
And Braxton's a DH now, right? Because he said, I don't want to do defense anymore.
Yeah, wasn't loving the defense. Really that much more into baseball now that his grandfather, one of the great managers of all time, is back in the dugout. One of the 10 to win 3 World Series championships or more as a Major League manager, Bruce Bochy.
And I think it puts it in perspective to the Rangers in the season that they've had, because it's been so streaky and up and down, left and right, all the things. And talking to him about it yesterday when we met with him, he's like, of all my years of managing, I've never seen anything like this. To be able to have the injuries they've had, to go on the streaks and absolutely annihilate teams, but then lose to teams they shouldn't lose to.
And one of his great attributes is he never takes himself too seriously.
That's for sure.
He jokes about himself all the time. Famously, he has his head size is an 8 1/8. He jokes about it all the time.
How do you know that?
He told me. He got traded twice.
I just want to know how you remember all these things.
Well, he got traded twice, and each time he got traded, he had to bring his helmet with him, spray painted the colors of his new team, because no one had a helmet to fit him on the new team. So he also hit a walk-off homer off of Nolan Ryan, the only guy who's ever hit a walk-off homer off of Nolan Ryan. And they ran a red carpet from the dugout into his locker to celebrate the walk-off homer off Nolan Ryan. And in the locker, they had a 6-pack of beer with ice in Bruce Bochy's enormous helmet. And
sounds like they could have fit a case based on the size of the helmet.
So Terry Kennedy, who was on that team, told me, he said, look, you can get a 6-pack of beer in a lot of guys' helmets, but only in Bochy's helmet can you get a 6-pack of beer with ice.
I imagine he might have a cold one after this. So proud of his team all season long. You know, there was a lot of question about their kind of mental state, if you will, when they got here after not winning the division, having led for 160 days in the regular season, having a chance to win it on the last day of the regular season in Seattle and failing. But they're going to get to play some home games unless this changes dramatically in the bottom of the 9th. Nathaniel Lowe skies one down toward the bullpen where Jose Leclerc is warming up, and he will likely come in for the 2nd straight day in a non-save situation to try to finish it off. And strike 3. Last chance for Tampa Bay, or it's Bruce Bochy and the Rangers on to Baltimore. Evan Carter and the Texas Rangers 3 outs away from winning this wild card series and heading to Baltimore to start the division series against the #1 seed in the American League, the Orioles. That would begin on Saturday. They have a 6-run lead in game 2 of this best-of-3. It's 7-1. Corey Seager and his mates have outscored Tampa Bay now 11-1 in this series, and they hand the ball off to Jose Leclerc, trying to finish it for the 2nd day in a row. Came in yesterday to get the final 3 outs, faced 4 batters, walked 1. And he had a strong regular season.
He was the closer in spring training, then he hurt his neck. He lost the closer job, but now he's back as their primary 9th inning guy. He pitched very well here yesterday. He will be critical if they're going to move on here.
Created by a line drive by Harold Ramirez and a base hit.
How many sliders have we seen Harold Ramirez chase out of the zone just in this series alone. That's been the pitch to go to against him. Finally, he sits on one, and that one was right down the middle.
First hit of the ball game. First hit today for Ramirez. 1 for 4. Then a swing and a miss by Josh Lowe. It's the first hit of the series for Ramirez. Now 1 for 8. Lowe 1 for 3. He singled and scored the drought-breaking run in the 7th inning. As they avoided by 1 out 34 consecutive innings without scoring in the postseason. They play him dramatically to pull in the infield. The third baseman Young just about where the shortstop would ordinarily be. Seager almost behind the second base bag. Pretty much straight away in the outfield. In fact, the center fielder Taveras a step or 2 toward the left. Lowe with Paredes on deck. Lowe faced Leclerc yesterday as a pinch hitter and drew a walk. In the air and left, retreating Carter back onto the warning track, reaching for the wall. He had plenty of room for the first out of the 9th. And the Rays now 2 outs away from their 7th straight postseason loss, which would add to the club record. It began with Game 2 of the 2021 ALDS against Boston. And they would have the longest active postseason losing streak all to themselves. Although Toronto would match it if they lost today. The ball outside to Paredes, who had an infield hit in the 7th against Eovaldi. 1 for 3 today for Isak and 2 for 7 in the series. Then a ball outside. Popped up, foul ground over by the dugout. And the foul ball. Thought we were going to get some action off one of the catwalks over there.
Now, this might not end well for the Rays, but it has been a remarkable season in a lot of ways, especially when you consider they won their first 13 games, which tied a major league record for most wins at the start of a season before you get your first loss. And the injuries just mounted up, and eventually they couldn't overcome.
There's a looping line drive, fair ball, all the way to the corner at the 3:15 marker. Ramirez trots in the 3rd, and it's a double for Paredes, and they're trying to make it interesting. Here at the Trop, Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, squirming in the dugout. There is nobody warming up.
It's never been easy for the Rangers when they get to their bullpen. And another pitch, middle. This is a cutter just left right over the middle part of the plate. Paredes, nice job driving this down the line. Most offense we've seen this series from the Rays, and it comes at the very end.
Now you wonder, they try not to use Chapman in back-to-back games, and they check with him to see if he feels physically up to it. That might be a possibility today. No, it's going to be Andrew Heaney. 1 strike after the foul ball by Margot. Will Smith was their closer for a lot of the year, but struggled down the stretch and lost that job. He's basically a mop-up man now.
And they have gotten a boost down the stretch from Heaney and from Martin Perez, both former starters who have gone to the bullpen and really helped them.
Leclerc misses with a slider. Margot hit 5 homers in his first 12 postseason games. He hasn't hit any in his last 14. Trying to hit one there. Foul tip on a 98-mile-an-hour pitch. Sinker that might have been a little bit higher than Leclerc wanted to throw it.
Well, this is the pitch Margot was sitting. When the hitters count, he's looking fastball middle. Just gets underneath it.
In the 2 games here now, Leclerc has thrown 31 pitches, only 16 strikes.
He walked Margot in the 9th yesterday.
Late swing and a chopper foul down the first base line. Margot with Curtis Mead on deck. Two men in scoring position. One out of the 9th. Swing and a miss. He chased a terrible ball off the plate. And now the Rays are down to their last strike. The last out, I should say. Wow.
It's set by about a foot.
Nathan Eovaldi, brilliant over 6 2/3 as the starter. He'd be the winner if they can get this final out. Meade checked his swing and took a strike. And if all these teams would go to 6-1 in games started by Nate in postseason play. The other 5 wins would be with Boston. Now they're 1 strike away. And why not throw it out there again, see if Meade would chase it after Margot just did.
That's why one of the hardest things to do come from behind offensively is you try to make things happen that you shouldn't. It's harder to be patient. It's harder to sit back and take the pitches you shouldn't be swinging at because you want to make something happen. That's what you saw the strikeout with Margot.
And time requested and granted to the hitter Curtis Meade. You know, it's a fairly stressful situation here. Leclerc just looks like he's out for a little afternoon walk along the beach. Good job by Meade to fight off a tough pitch there. 98 on the outside corner. Seven to 1 Texas. A strike away from clinching this series. Another 1-2 from Leclerc and another layoff by Meade. Assuming this goes in the win column for Texas, it would be the 14th career series win for Bruce Bochy. 3rd of all time. There were more playoff series in the expanded playoffs in recent years. Joe Torre and Tony La Russa, the only others with more. Meade still hanging in there. Way outside. So Good at bat by Meade. You'll see the 8th pitch. They're ready to go in the clubhouse. They don't need Bruce Bochy's hat to put any refreshments on ice. A little more stressful than T-ball, but he's ready to celebrate with his team. Strike 3. Fastball at the knees, a borderline pitch. Goes the Rangers' way, and they go on to the second round to take on Baltimore in the ALDS starting on Saturday. They win a playoff round for the first time in 12 years. And a total team effort that sends the Tampa Bay Rays home for the season after a 99-win regular season. Everybody in the Rangers starting lineup today had a hit, and the pitching terrific for the second straight day.
Right, and let's not forget how good the Rangers were for most of the season. Best offensive team in the American League, a really good defense, and very good starting pitching for about 4 months. And Nate Eovaldi took them home today. Really impressive.
And the key to the series is the fact that they didn't have to use their bullpen. They only had to use 3 total arms in 2 games out of their weakest part of this entire team, which is the bullpen, because Nathan Eovaldi went 6 2/3, because Jordan Montgomery went 7 innings. That was the difference, even though the offense was huge in this one.
Well, Bruce Bochy took over a team. There's Montgomery's magnificent yesterday. Bruce Bochy took over a team that won 68 games a year ago, believing they had the potential to be much better in his first season. And they have been that. 90 regular season wins and now a postseason series victory. And disappointment for Tampa Bay. I think you touched on it, though, Tim. You know, we saw as the season went along the impact of all the losses, and it was hard to imagine them winning the World Series. You know, it was likely to end for them, even if it didn't end in this round. There just didn't seem to be enough left.
Right? Just imagine if those 3 really good starting pitchers were healthy. What if they had their double play combination with them? They would be a completely different team than the one that finished the season.
Here's Coley Harvey.
Josh, first of all, that was a pretty tame celebration for you guys. Not a whole lot of jumping on the field. Why was that?
Yeah, we're not done yet. You know, we won this series. It's a big win for us and the franchise, but we got more we want to accomplish.
This is your first career postseason series, and today going 3 for 4. All 3 of those hits, extra base hits. What in the world got into you today?
I don't know, but hopefully I can keep that going. Got some good pitches to hit. Had some balls fall. Kind of went my way today, and just going to try to keep that going.
Now, your pitchers in this series, Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi, I mean, they were dominant. Just 1 run allowed between the 2 of them. What was the most impressive thing that you saw from both of them this series?
I mean, even when they had traffic, they were pitching, you know, the crud out of the baseball. Hats off to both of those guys. Evo's earned runs on me, I feel like. But, I mean, he came back and limited the damage, and both of them did a heck of a job.
And now it's on to Baltimore. You guys are a streaky team. You know, when you've been winning games, it's been 8 games. It's been 6 games in a row during the regular season. Why is this team so dangerous when it gets hot?
I guess hitting is contagious. When balls start falling, everyone kind of gets juiced up, and it just kind of, you know, 1 through 9 in the order anyone can get going at any time and start that rally. It's pretty cool.
Thank you very much, Josh. On to Baltimore for you guys. Back to you guys upstairs.
And they touched on it. Montgomery and Eovaldi, 13 2/3 combined in their 2 starts, having allowed 1 run and no walks. And a pretty tame celebration right now. They were criticized by some for celebrating perhaps a bit too much, which they thought was nonsense after they clinched the playoff spot. The final score is 7-1. Tampa Bay loses to Texas, and the Rangers sweep in 2. More Wild Card Series action tonight on ESPN2 and on ESPN. For Jessica and Tim, our great crew, and Coley Harvey. So long from St. Pete. Back to the studio after these messages.